LinkedIn lead generation is a hot topic. You'll see other videos similar to this one that'll tell you it's dead or it's dying, and they'll just use that as clickbait, and then they'll go into a whole strategy about how it's not dead at all and that they use it every day. So that's confusing to me, and I'm hoping to shed a little bit of light on the reality of the situation, which is LinkedIn lead generation is very much alive. We just do it in a different way, and I'm gonna show you that. By the end of this video, you'll have an idea as to how you can stand out while also generating leads. These guys are really good at making nice videos with good lighting and cool cameras and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're all doing the same thing. They want you to create lists. They want you to use softwares. We don't use any of that. There are no lists, there are no CRMs, there are no softwares, there is no Google Sheets, there's no Excel. Now, do we have tools that we use? Yes, but you don't need them to do this. I was doing all of this before I even had a website. What we do is we use podcasts, and more specifically podcast clips, to bring in leads, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. But to set this foundation, the things that you do need are posts. You need topics, and more specifically, opinions. LinkedIn is very easy to generate inbound leads. I would say it's easier to generate inbound leads than it is to generate outbound leads on LinkedIn if you have no audience, right? The reason why is because LinkedIn is a effort-based platform, right? So TikTok does not care how many posts you commented on, right? They only care if your video, if there's a market for people who are watching your videos, their goal is to take your video and send it out to everybody else. LinkedIn is fundamentally a different social media platform because it requires you to put in work to get responses back, meaning you have to engage with other people for people to engage with you. To be more specific, if you have an account with 20,000 followers, and I see this every single day, but you go to the account and their posts get no likes or zero engagement, that's because they don't actually engage with other people. So they spend all the time doing it, then they thought they can just sit back in their chair and the leads were just going to continue to come in, and that's not how it works. So you always have to be engaging to get engagement back on LinkedIn. So that is the first and foremost approach here. This is a 100% inbound strategy. This should be obvious for anybody using the platform to generate leads in business, but for some reason nobody talks about it, which is the fact that if you scroll through any given group of 25 posts, you're going to see anywhere from 1 to 5 videos, and that of those videos, most likely none of them are going to be from a podcast. So if you post a podcast on LinkedIn, I'm not saying the link to your podcast, I'm saying a clip of the podcast, it already has a better chance of getting seen because we don't see a lot of that type of content on the platform. So already you're going to stand out, but how do you make it stand out and how do you bring leads in? Well, the first thing you have to do is design the podcast to create leads for you. So for our example, we create client interviews, and these are very easy to run. What we do is we take clients who have been with us for 3, 6, 12 months, and we interview them and ask them questions about their strategy. We do not force them or ask them about us, right? It's not a advertisement for us, even though it is. Those are not the types of questions we're asking. What we're asking them is to give advice for somebody who's about to do the thing that they already did, right? Who's about to accomplish that goal. So it's that simple. We're going to use this client interview. And again, no need to have anything fancy here. You don't need a podcast. You don't need to be on Spotify. You don't even need to be on YouTube. You don't even need to release this. You can just interview your clients and then use a software like Opus Clip or Descript or CapCut to cut up the clips. And now the quality is going to be important here, but I'm not even going to touch on that in this video. I think you can just get started doing it and it's going to start bringing results, because let's look at the few factors here. We have number 1, we're doing video, which there's not much of it on LinkedIn anyway. Number 2, we're doing a podcast style, which most podcasters on LinkedIn just post a link and nobody cares, right? So that's already different. And then number 3, the third component that I didn't touch on yet, is the copy above the video. And that is how, on LinkedIn specifically, how you make videos and podcasts stand out is you have your clip and you write an entire post on top of that clip. And you'll see in this example where I had my client interview with David, right? And I had a clip of him talking about why he hired us, but then above it, I had the strategy that we completed together, right? So what you want is you want the podcast clip to be a standalone piece of content, and then you want the copy or the post above the clip to be a standalone piece of content, because then two things are happening. The first thing that's happening is the prospect or the audience member or the fan or whoever, or somebody who doesn't even know you, is going to see that copy first. They're going to see the text first, because if you scroll through LinkedIn's feed, you'll know that that's how it works. The text always comes first, right? It's not like Instagram where the video comes first, then the caption. The caption and the text comes first. So they're reading that, and then once they get through reading it, they either read it or they skim it. It's one or the other. Either way, it doesn't matter. They've already spent time on your post, which LinkedIn's algorithm is recognizing the dwell time that they're spending on that. And then they go to the video, and the video is edited. It has captions. It flows well. It's got good audio. And then it's that double effect, right? That's selling them on not only not the podcast. I'm not trying to promote the podcast at all. All I'm doing is using that clip as evidence of what we do. So your normal LinkedIn lead gen people are, hey, make a list of 100 names, use the software, you're going to scrape. Dude, who wants to do that? Who wants to sit there and like get this name and copy and paste it and download all these softwares that who knows what they're doing with your data? Instead, I would rather just post content based on the results that I already have with people who already know, like, and trust me, who have already bought from me. And that's something that you can do too, especially in the B2B context. I don't care if you have a SaaS software. If you have a software that's $15 a month, take the people who are using it the most and interview them. Sit down with them for, could be even 10 or 15 minutes, and just have that open conversation. Within that, over time, you're going to get better at asking the right questions to pull the right things out of them to then showcase that. If you look at it this way, right? If you have a company with no videos, no client interviews, no video content at all, and then you have a company with 12 client interviews that explain their entire strategy in and out, which one are you going to go with? I think the answer is obvious. So when it comes to LinkedIn lead generation, especially using a podcast that you do not need to launch to start, you can just start interviewing people and pulling clips. You can use Zoom if you want. Zencaster is a paid platform that is fantastic. Riverside works as well. But you can just get started with a simple camera, a mic, a lighting setup, and you can start generating inbound leads by talking about things that you and your prospects and your clients are already talking about anyway. And if you want to see this in action, you can actually go to my LinkedIn profile. I just spent the last week promoting a group coaching program that we're rolling out. I created it in 1 week and then filled it up that same week, all by using this strategy on LinkedIn, using the videos, using the podcast, and using the evidence that our clients share. So happy to help you. My name is Ryan Sullivan from Podcast Principles. This is exactly what we do. We help businesses create profitable podcasts instead of podcasts that get 3 likes and nobody watches and doesn't bring in any revenue, that's what 90% of companies are doing with their podcast. We take the opposite approach. So I appreciate you watching this solo episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and connect with me on LinkedIn too if you want to see the strategy in real time. I'll catch you next week.